Je suis arrivé. Tiny little airport. It's a little chilly too. And check out the transportation situation. I don't know if Uber has made it up to this remote part of Canada. It is almost dark and I'm 30 kilometers from the airport. I had planned on walking to the from the airport to a hostel down near the national park, but I have about 30 pounds of food with me in a checked bag, and I'm not sure I'm trying to make that walk with that extra bag on my shoulders, so we shall see. Thank you. Hey everybody, I am standing in the little foyer of the tiny airport because the mosquitoes are gnarly. As soon as I got off the plane and walked across the tarmac, they were just lighting me up. So I've got my long sleeves on now and some of my bug repellent gear, but I am trying to avoid those suckers as long as I can. So I'm standing here waiting for a cab. I decided not to walk the 30 kilometers from the airport to the hostel since it's dark out, and I've got this giant 30-pound pack of food on my front as well as my backpack on my back. So it's a rite of passage to walk from the airport to the start of the trail. A couple other of the hiker heroes of mine who've done this trail have made that walk, and I was planning on it, but I didn't think I'd get here so late, and at the last minute decided not to ship all this food to Canada because it was too expensive. So I checked a bag full of 30 days worth of food or whatever. So those two facts equal not a fun walk in the dark with a really sore shoulder.
Hi, how are you? Hello.
Hello.
Where are you?
Just from North Carolina. Some friends back home.
Oh, but she's from the United States.
I'm from Texas.
Oh yeah, North Carolina.
Bye.
Cool.
Bye.
So I'm making friends already, and everybody's so friendly up here. I love it. So I'm gonna get this cab when it comes and check in again when I get to my final destination. Hey everybody, it's Sammertime. Not quite on the Eastern Continental Trail, but darn close. I'm up here in the Gasp Bay in Quebec, and I got in pretty late last night. A little later than I thought. It was around 9 o'clock, and it was already dark way up north here. And the mosquitoes were out really heavily. As soon as I got off the plane, I started getting lit on. And at the last minute, I decided not to ship all my food to Canada because it was expensive, but to bring it in a checked bag, in a big duffel bag. So I had like a 30-pound duffel bag hanging on my shoulders, plus my backpack. And it was a 30-kilometer walk from the airport to the hostel I was trying to stay at last night. So I opted to skip the rite of passage that I thought I would hike last night, the extra 30 kilometers to the beginning of the trail from the airport, and called a cab and got him to take me to this little hostel that's not far from the trailhead. When I got to the hostel, it was already closed for the night. It was about 10 o'clock by the time I got there. And there's people inside, but there's no attendant. There's a guy's number on the door, so I called it and spoke with Steven, who said, yeah, sorry, I can't get back out there, but if you have a tent, you're welcome to camp out in the woods behind the hostel. So I went through a little trail in the woods and found this kind of clearing that he was describing. And so I'm sitting in my tent right now, and I want to show you my first campsite of the trip, which is pretty effing sweet. Check it out. Get my little shoes on here. Bear with me. All right. This is the first time I've seen it in the daylight, actually. There's my tent, my shelter, and camped right next to this monument for Stella Maris. I don't know, maybe it's a grave. I don't know, I have to ask. But here's the beauty part. And that is the bay, the Gasp Bay. And last night, I don't know if y'all can hear it, but you can hear the waves crashing. I can. And all night that just lulled me to sleep. And there's a almost full moon up here just shining across the water. And you know, I couldn't be too upset. And it was kind of ideal because I saved the money on the room last night and I came here to camp, so that's what I did. But anyway, I'm about to walk up to the hostel and meet this Steven in person and get cleaned up and find a post office here in Canada to mail all that food from to the other places in Canada. So Sammertime signing off, off to a great start. Hey everybody, it's Sammertime and I'm just finishing up my last day of trip prep. Like I've mentioned, I brought all my food for Canada in a duffel bag checked on the flight here so I could save some money. And I'm staying at a hostel. That's the hostel right there. It's called L'École, Petite L'École de Fourillon, the little school of Fourillon. It's no longer a school, they turned it into a hostel. And then this is the church that I slept behind last night. And then conveniently right next door, boop, tiny little post office. They're only open for like 4 hours today, so I'm glad I caught them. The attendant was very helpful. We both don't speak the best of each other's languages, but together we made it through. And she seems to think that the food will get to where I need it to be, so I won't go hungry. So the rest of the day today, probably just hanging out at the hostel and down on the beach at Capozzo, and just chillaxing before I hit the trail tomorrow. So I may check in one more time today, but if not, I will see you guys at the head of the trail tomorrow.